Welcome back, everyone, to 13 Nights of Tiki Frights, an annual celebration of ceramic mug making at one of the spookiest times of the year, leading up to Halloween. I am The Search for Tiki, a mug collecting website, and I'm really excited for the show tonight. We have an awesome guest. Ken from House of Tabu is going to be joining us tonight. He's one of the first designers of mugs that got me into the mug world, so kudos to Ken for that. We're going to be giving away actually a mug that he made, he designed, sculpted, and manufactured, I believe, all himself in-house through House of Tabu. The Fire Starter cocktail mug, which is actually, it has a lid here, so you can clean it easily. It's got a little spot on the side for your straw. So we're going to be giving away the Fire Starter cocktail mug here towards the end of the stream. We're also going to be giving away a couple things during the stream. The first is a pin from our sponsor, the Black Lagoon Room. This enamel pin that says "Help Me" with a little spider web. The Black Lagoon Room, they also sell ceramic cocktail mugs of a spooky nature, perfect for Halloween. And we're giving away a straw, a glass cocktail straw from Surfside Sips, which is this little pumpkin straw. Surfside Sips helps remove plastic from the oceans by promoting the use of reusable glass straws. We love Surfside Sips. We're going to be giving this away during the live stream. We also, if you haven't seen, we have a pumpkin carving contest going on. And all you have to do is carve a pumpkin, carve a pineapple, carve whatever you want. Send us a photo on our website of your design. And if we like it, if we choose it, you will win this 2-tier mug shelf for your mug collection from Tiki Gonzo with print from Shag's Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar release. So this is a really cool shelf to display your favorite cocktail mugs. And with that said, let's see if we can get House of Tabu in here. I'm excited to talk to Ken. And folks, I do read the comments as you write them, so if you have any questions for House of Tabu, let us know. And I will try to relay them to Ken. Scooter's in here. Scooter is one of our sponsors. Scott Burrows of 13 Nights of Tiki Frights. Give him some love. There he is.
I'm here.
The man of the hour.
Some
going,
hour.
Man?
Pretty good. I'm going to try and turn up my sound here a little bit. Thought I had it up all the way. There we go. That's better. How's it
Chris
going?
Bonomo would like your backdrop. He's all
Yeah.
full zebra.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They know me down at Joanne Fabrics.
There's a whole section of exotic prints.
Yeah, I caught it myself, but probably not that. All fake.
You're more into this than I realized.
Yeah, this is one corner of the home bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does your home bar have a name? Or just Ken's home bar?
Actually, our dog's name is Frankie, so at this point it's Frankie's Tiki Room.
And now you have a mug making studio. How far do you have to walk from your mug making studio to be drinking cocktails in your bar?
5 feet.
5 feet? That's the life, man.
Yeah, unfortunately the kiln is upstairs in the garage, so I can burn off a lot of calories doing that, so keeps me in shape for my cocktails.
For what it's worth.
Yeah, for what that's
The more
worth.
mugs you make, the more cocktails you can enjoy. So, make more mugs.
It's a race to the end at this point.
So how's everything going, dude? I just saw that you designed a new mug for a new bar in, is it Houston, Texas?
Yeah, that's Tiki Tatsu-ya in Austin. That bar has been in the works for 3 years, I believe.
See, to me, as an outsider, it was like I knew nothing, and then boom, here's a bar, and they have like 12 different mugs.
Well, I think everybody in Austin knew about it. Being close to Chicago, we would go into Three Dots and a Dash a lot, and Corey Starr was one of their bartenders. And our kids lived in Austin for a while, and there's Tiki Ramen Tatsu-ya, it's probably the best ramen I've ever had anywhere. I think I just have to fly there next to get ramen because I can't get ramen anywhere in the U.S.
You can't settle for anywhere less now?
Oh, not
You've
really.
had your ramen tarnished for you?
And then they, and this is what's interesting about Tiki Tatsu-ya, is then they opened Kamiri Tatsu-ya, which was their fusion of Japanese and Texas barbecue. And that place was very, very, very interesting. The food is fantastic.
Okay.
And then in their waiting area, they started playing with tiki cocktails. And then talking to Corey, come to find out they hired him away from Three Dots and a Dash to come down to start working on Tiki Tatsu-ya about 3 years ago. And they put it in one of their locations on South Lamar in Austin, I believe. It was one of their ramen locations. They still have 3 ramen locations. It's
okay, so it is a chain. It's more than one.
Well, no, it's 2 brothers. I believe one, if I'm correct, one still lives in Japan and one lives in Austin. So it's as authentic as you can get it in terms of Japanese cuisine. Their food is so good. I would seriously fly to Austin just to eat at all of their places. They have another one called Dip Tatsu-ya, which is the Japanese hot pot. You sit in front of an induction burner and they bring you oil and you pick different meats and you cook your food with chopsticks. That was really good too.
Okay.
But since Corey and he got hired down there, he asked if I wanted to design one of the mugs. So that's how I got asked to do that project. And it really was probably 2 years ago starting on the mug. But
did you
the
have
restaurant
kind of rain, or did they give you like an idea of what kind of mug they wanted you to make?
They gave me an idea of what they wanted because it was going to be based on some of their menu selections. So yeah, I was given some direction, but they obviously they hadn't opened a tiki bar. They'd never dealt with manufacturing mugs before.
Yep.
I think I gave them some pointers. Corey knew I was doing mugs, so they reached out to other people too. Corey himself designed the what do they call it? The slurping bastard mug that they have. It's a suffering bastard holding a bowl of noodles.
Yeah, dude, I love that thing. That was the first mug. That's how I found out about them, because I saw someone posted a photo of that mug and I saw it and I was like, I've never seen that before, but I love it and I need to know more. And that's when I discovered the bar. And then I saw that you designed a mug for him.
Yeah, I was talking with Corey, like, yeah, we want to do more mugs in the future, and now the bar's been set because it's definitely has the Tatsu-ya influence in it. So everything moving forward is going to have some sort of influence from their angle of their story of the bar.
Well, I love it because it kind of makes like all of these classic designs fresh again.
It really does, doesn't it? And I think they had Tony Canepa in Austin, who's done work for Hidden Harbor. He designed some of their glassware.
His stuff is wild.
Yeah, his stuff's really good. And I think he did the menu illustrations and he did some of the glassware for them. So it's nice that they're working with a lot of different people. I appreciate the fact that they do that.
Yeah, I think it's cool too, because then it allows more people to be exposed to it, because there are certain people that people follow, and by working with all these different artists, it kind of brings in a whole bunch of people. But Texas, so I've done most of the tiki bars in California, and I live on the East Coast, New Hampshire. But the 2 big tiki sections that I haven't visited is Texas, and I believe your neck of the woods, the Great Lakes, Chicago. From what I've heard, Max's South Seas is top 10.
It is.
Yeah.
I feel fortunate where I'm living. I can go into Chicago, hit 3 Dots, or go to Halakahiki, a little further out in River Grove. Our kids have since transplanted from Austin to Indianapolis and live 8 minutes from the Inferno Room. And then it's about 2 hours to Grand Rapids for us to go to Max's. So I can head a little over 2 hours south, a little 2 hours west, a little 2 hours east, and I can hit 4 fabulous tiki bars. And if I want to Ohio a little bit, Tiki Underground is now moving to a new location. A large.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. I think they're shutting down the existing location sometime yet this year or at the end of the year. And yeah, they already have secured a new location in Cuyahoga County. I like saying Cuyahoga. It's an interesting word.
You said it with enthusiasm. How many cocktails have you had tonight?
I've got a double Saturn going right now.
Oh, perfect.
Well, with a little Campari on top, so it's a Saturn Negroni at this point.
Are you the official bar master of your own bar?
I am. Yeah, much like Kramer from Seinfeld, I am the master of the.
That's now on Netflix. That just came back out, and I've been binging it.
Yeah, this the first season is a little slow. Second season and third season, they really get into character. Yeah, it's a great show. But yeah, whenever friends are over, and we have friends over often enough, I'm behind the bar, and it's pretty well stocked. I would turn this whole setup, but my iPad's like sitting on a stepladder right now, so
Yeah.
give you a little better view. But I posted some pictures online. I think people have probably seen the bar setup, and that really was kind of a. We bought this house and it was abandoned, had a full basement with a fireplace in it that had nothing in the basement except the fireplace. And I'm on a computer all day long. I work part-time for a toy company doing packaging and
Okay.
design. We do die-cast cars and model car kits. And then I also do, I work from home for Michigan's 10th largest craft brewery. So just to get off the computer, I would come down here and just pick away at the bar. In about 9 months, I built this, and I'm still adding to it, just like any tiki bar. You just keep adding more and more things to it. But it's fun. It gets me off the computer. I come down here and relax. But
Do you have a big collection?
of what? Rum or mugs?
Rum, mugs, you name it, dude. If you're a collector, you tend to collect more
I
than
have
one
more
thing.
rum than mugs at this point. I probably have 50 mugs. I buy a select ones that I really like, and a lot of people give me mugs. I have a friend that travels a lot, and he hits a lot of bars that I don't get to. So, yeah, I've got a few good ones from a little bit of everybody. A lot of Ecotica mugs, obviously, because I started working with John when I first started working on my first stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of Danny Gallardo stuff because I love his work, and then just random things. Three Dots and a Dash would always give us mugs when we pop in, and I have Saturn Room and a lot of mugs from Frankie's. I love Frankie's in Vegas.
In Vegas? Yeah, that's one of my favorite bars.
It's my favorite of the two. Golden Tiki was great, but there's just something about Frankie's that kind of gives
They're
me.
very different. Like, I find there's like at least two types of tiki bars where you have that authentic, like, dive bar, and then you have the more like, which is what I've heard Three Dots has kind of become, the more like bump in party scene bar.
It is after about 8 o'clock at night. If you go to Three Dots at 4 when they open, it's nice and quiet. Exotica and everything playing, but
Yep.
late starting 8 o'clock on, it becomes more of the disco
Party scene.
Party scene gets really packed. I've had fun there on both occasions, but I like going early. I like to go when I go to a bar. I like to sit and talk with people and talk with the bartenders. When it gets too loud, I'm not enjoying it much.
Plus, you got those other three bars you got to hit up in the same night. So.
That's happening. Thank God for Uber.
So what got you into this? Obviously, you're a designer. You've been a designer for a long time, but what got you into making mugs?
I'm going to back up for a second because this is Halloween. I think I was probably 7 years old. I've drawn my whole life, but I had an aunt and uncle, as normal as could be, but they had this.
Homebodies?
Yeah, one of the original Addams Family reprint books, from Charles Addams, drawing for the New Yorker. And at 7 years old or whatever, I was poring over this thing, and it really got me wanting to draw comics, cartoons. So
Yep.
I've been drawing probably since 7 or 8 years old. And then, of course, then you drift into things like Mad Magazine, and you develop a warped sense of humor. And then eventually I moved into comic books. This was the last thing of mine that was reprinted by Dark Horse. I worked on a series called Mr. X, which was from a Canadian publisher, Vortex. It was kind of
I had no idea about this yet. About you.
Yeah, this was my favorite book to work on in the comic. I worked for a lot of independents. This was the best thing I worked on. Dean Motter lives in Atlanta. He was the writer. They had Paul Werbosch and the Hernandez brothers doing the original art on it. It was color to begin with, and then they revamped it as a black and white. And I started inking over a British artist, and then eventually I drew some of the issues, and that was kind of the end of my comic book career. But Dark Horse reprinted this at one point, and that got me into the publishing bug. I published my own comics back in the day too, in the 80s, 90s.
Can we still find them? Are they out there in the world?
Yeah, you can. I worked for Now Comics out of Chicago. They were in Printers Row, and they were publishing things like Speed Racer and Terminator. I worked on a lot of Speed Racer stuff. A lot of coloring, lettering. I did a few covers for that. I did lettering for First Comics out of Evanston. And then I did some work for Caliber Press. They're still around. They're in the Livonia, Michigan area. But they were kind of big in the 90s. They did a lot of independent stuff. They were actually the publishers of The Crow when The Crow came out, the film. And that was Caliber Press. I worked for them for a while. And then I did some stuff for Slave Labor out of San Diego. I think they had a lot of great books, but their big claim to fame was Milk and Cheese, which appeared on the show Roseanne. The one character who was in Big Bang Theory was constantly reading Milk and Cheese on the show. And I think that kind of got Slave Labor kickstarted too. That was a big for them. So that's where I got my publishing bug. Now the cocktail bug and the tiki bug began with my wife Lori. She worked for a spice company, small boutique spice company. So we got to go to a lot of great restaurants and bars, Death and Company in New York, and we got invited to the Death and Company opening in Denver, and we went to Tales of the Cocktail and all these different, not only restaurants, but bar programs we were buying from the company. So I kind of got into the craft cocktail thing, and then just one night, friends in Chicago was like, "Hey, have you ever been to Holewczynski? You gotta go to this divey bar out in River Grove." So that hooked me into the tiki cocktail thing, and then I just kind of.
So that was your first experience.
Yes. Yep. So that drug me into the whole thing. I've always been interested in mid-century modern design and that sort of thing. And even though Holewczynski is very traditional tiki with a ton of Whitco, it still has that 60s vibe to it when you go in. So being a designer, that kind of drew me into it. And then I shifted my interest in making craft cocktails, Manhattans, old fashions, things like that, into picking up Jeff Barry's books. I think that was the other thing too. We're at a distillery and I came across Potions of the Caribbean, and I was just flipping through both the visuals and the recipes. I'm like, this is something I got to get myself into. So from there, I started talking to people, and while I was working on getting a mug produced with Mung Tiki, the very first Voodoo That You Do mug, and I don't have one sitting here.
It's like the little the head of a voodoo doll. Yeah.
I contacted Gene at Culture Cove and started working on glassware because I thought, well, if I'm going to try and start making some tiki-related stuff and maybe try and sell it to some people, I need more than one thing. So that got the ball rolling.
And John and Gene are amazing. For anyone watching, if you've ever thought about making glassware, custom glassware for your home bar, it's way easier than it is to make mugs. And John and Gene at I don't know if they go by Culture Cove or South Pacific Promotions these days, but they're absolutely fantastic.
They go by both, and they keep changing which one they want to go with.
Depends on the day and how much they've had to drink.
I send my payments to Culture Cove. That's what I know. So
I think their banners say South Pacific Promotions.
Yeah.
Tiki Oasis. So who knows?
I know he's talked to Tony Canepa about redesigning a logo for him, and then he asked me about it once, and I think they're just so busy they don't even worry about it. Everybody knows who they are. So.
And now there's shortages, so they got that to deal with.
Yeah, I was going to do a new zombie glass, and that got put on hold. Libby said they're not even making zombie glasses at this current time. I was lucky enough to, I don't know if it's going to show up well. Yeah, I lifted it a little higher. I did another order.
Yeah, that's one of my all-time favorite designs that I have seen on a glass. The Order of the Golden Fez.
Yeah, my fake secret society that everybody knows.
Are we allowed to talk about the Order of the Golden Fez?
Only in whispers.
It's not like Fight Club?
You gotta turn the lights down.
Oh, okay. Should we call it something else to confuse and confound everyone?
That's a good idea.
When did the Order of the Golden Fez come about?
When I started House of Tabu, I was kicking around names, and I wanted something much like Mark Zuckerberg. I wanted an umbrella name.
You're meta? You're the meta of Tiki?
Yeah, I'm the meta of Tiki. But, I knew the Fez thing was part of Tiki events and culture in some way, shape, or form. So I came up with the Order of the Golden Fez, and then I had House of Tabu. And I ended up registering both names and went with House of Tabu, which was probably better for what I'm doing. But the Golden Fez thing was still in the background. I'm like, I should just do a whole line of stuff related to that. So
I love it.
I get people writing me like, how do I join? I'm like, well, buy a membership card. Join the Facebook group. You're in.
I love how there's no threshold for enlightenment.
No,
The
no.
threshold is your wallet.
Down as you get.
Yeah. Spend more.
Spend
And
more.
you will know less.
Or, yeah, viral is what it really is. It's all in fun. I don't know if you've looked at the website I did. I got goldenfez.com. It's got a bunch. I wasn't drunk when I wrote it, but it kind of reads like it.
Are you sure?
It's a lot of fun. Just go to goldenfez.com. You'll have fun with it. I had fun creating it. I kind of did it to archive, and I haven't caught up yet. I'll archive all the Golden Fez stuff that I've made so far, and the different variants and everything.
People love it, man.
Yeah.
I can't get one of those banners for the life of me.
My friend Emily from Indianapolis, I ordered the fabric and she makes them for me. Her husband Luke is coming in town tomorrow for a live show we're going to go see, and he's bringing more banners, so I can hold. Yeah.
For those that are watching, there's a banner. It almost looks like a tapestry that you would kind of hang on the wall, and you can get pins, and the pins are degrees of enlightenment.
Different degrees.
Yeah,
well, the packaging might throw you off a little bit, but yeah, there's different degree pins, and they're all sort of like faux Latin, pig Latin. I haven't done pig Latin yet. I should do that for one of them. And yeah, I mean, it's everybody likes to wear pins, and it's just a fun thing to do. And actually,
I want to know if I order the I think it's the Master of Jocularity. Will I suddenly become more funny? Will people actually laugh at my jokes?
They might. I don't know your friends, so
it's not guaranteed though.
It's
you
not
can't guarantee that with every sale that you.
$10, I can't guarantee anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll just have to buy one and see what happens.
Right. So getting just to kind of, I have a few things lined up here. So yeah, I don't know if everybody's seen the Tiki Tatsu-ya mugs.
Yeah, people were asking us if we had any to show.
Yep.
So is that inspired by the Don Beach cocktail?
Yes, it is, and then it's also inspired by the Karate Kid. Apparently, I guess the fist around the fist is a Karate Kid reference that they wanted, and yeah, they were done in 3 different glazes. A lot of people.
Oh wow!
So they did the red, the green. I'm not sure which one's my favorite. The black is really cool, but the red spray down the middle doesn't always show off as much. There is a red.
Yep.
Going down the center of the Cobra. But yeah, I started working with initially with John Mulder after I did the Voodoo mug with Monk Tiki, and then
John. You could
John
not have picked a better person to release your babies upon.
John's a great guy. He really is a great guy. So a lot of people. This is a Golden Fez thing. I think this is the 3rd issue of the Tut mug.
Yep. What brought you to making Egypt mugs?
I just thought it fit in with the whole Fez thing.
Okay.
I grew up watching horror films, obviously, Charles Addams and things like that. I grew up watching a lot of the Universal horror films. I'm 62, so when I was growing up in the 70s, you had creature features on, much like the Svengoolie. I don't know if you're aware of Svengoolie out of Chicago. But it's a creature feature host showing old films. So I grew up watching a lot of those, and that kind of got me into it, the Mummy, Karloff, and things like that. So we did the Tut mug, and then I figured, Tut needed a bride, so we did the Nefertiti. And this was the ghost Nefertiti that we had at Palm Springs at Caliente. And John just showed up with these. There's only 11 of these made.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have one. Yeah. The
11 total?
11 total. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's why I never see them.
Yeah. I never see them. I luckily kept one for myself.
Do you know where the other 10 ended up, or you're?
We did a mug release at Tonga Hut in North Hollywood, and they went out the door there with the people that lined up. We had 50 ghost Tuts, and then John also did 11 of these just on a whim. So
okay.
I kept one, and 10 went out the door to somebody, and I never see them online anywhere. I don't even see people post about them. I see people looking for them, but I don't see people
I see lots of people looking for them, but I had no idea that there was only 11. So I guess that explains why
Yeah.
they never have any luck.
And then this was another, at Halakahiki, David Chris, a good friend of mine, does an art show called the Lowbrow Aloha, and we did the Whitco fountain mug. This is, the mug that's at or the fountain that's at Halakahiki. So we did this in 2 colors with John Mulder, and it has the, nice little dry ice thing that I wonder if anybody really ever uses the dry ice wells, but we put it in there. So
it's cool to see the fountain, because so oftentimes when you see those fountains, those old Whitco fountains, they're in like pieces.
Yeah. No, the Whitco one, it is functioning. I've seen that they don't run the fountain all the time because they probably worry about the condition of it. But they do run it every once in a while when I'm up there for the Lowbrow Aloha show. So after that, believe it or not, even though I was doing business with John, I did saw him a few times at a few events, and I was asking him about doing another mug, and he was telling me how busy he is, and he's always busy. He just looked at me. He's like, "Well, if you can draw, you can sculpt." I'm like, no. I've never sculpted anything in my life. I have no idea what you're talking about, man. You're speaking Greek to me. I draw on a piece of paper and it's flat.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do it. So he convinced me to try and start making my own mugs.
He convinced you out of encouragement, or he convinced you because he
wanted me to
you didn't have time to make the mugs?
No. John's a good guy. He was encouraged, and I call him and talk to him, and when I have questions or issues or I just want to pick his brains, he's always there to talk to me. So I really appreciate John's help with getting me down this path of kind of doing this stuff all on my own now. Well, not really all on my own. At this point, Lori, my wife, I'm casting, cleaning, she's glazing.
Okay.
She's home now. The spice company she worked for, it's still in business, but with COVID and restaurants, they lost a lot of business, so they just couldn't keep her on. But it's great. She's home. We have dogs. We have a dog. We have cats. She gets to sit around and glaze mugs and drink cocktails and deal with the pets. So
that's the dream.
Yeah, it really is good. So
so there are not that many artists out there that have experience in both now. Having mugs made by another company and then making your own mugs. You've released a couple now, the fire starter.
Yep.
This one. You got an oceanic mug, you got the baboon. What would you say are the pros and cons of both?
The time, because with keeping 2 other jobs, and I'm hoping my other 2 jobs aren't watching me right now, but I'm hoping to ditch one of them by the first because I need more time. I'm sculpting, and then once you make a sculpt, you make a master mold. And I see the other people making their own mugs, like Omar and that. They're like, "Oh, I made the mold. Let's hope it works." Yeah, that's the first thing. You have to plan your sculpt, and then you make master molds, which for the baboon was 5 pieces. The fire starter was 5 as well, except the flame was 3. But you don't know
8 total, or
so
5 total?
8 pieces total on the fire starter, and then you have to take your sculpt, you bury it in a different sort of clay. I sculpt in an oil-based clay. I think most people do. Monster clay, or they use aroma plastilina, and then you bury that in earth clay, which is like a regular throwing clay for people working on a wheel, so they don't overly stick to each other.
Yep.
And you have to bury it in sections and figure out how you're going to divide your mold up, and then you let that air dry with fans blowing on it, and then you pour the first mug and you see if your mold works. If it doesn't work, you have to start all over again. And you've wasted.
Have you had that happen?
Yes. Luckily, it didn't destroy the sculpt. So, that can happen too. If you don't plan it right and you take it apart, you destroy your sculpt. So far that's worked out. But then, then there's the time of you have to make silicone duplicates of each plaster piece. So then once you have these silicone molds, you can pour in more plaster of Paris and make multiple molds so you can cast multiple mugs at a time. I mean, everybody's kind of talked about this a little bit online, but that's the process. For me, the challenge is I don't have a lot of space, so I'm maybe pouring 8 or 9 mugs a day, maybe. And the other big challenge for me, and maybe I can just throw this out there, and I'm sure everybody's going to have an opinion, because I'm doing this myself from home and I don't do pre-sales, I'm just against them. And a lot of people are, a lot of people love them, but um, as I make mugs, I personally don't feel like financially, and this is kind of a weird thing to talk about because I don't want to drag anything down, but financially, it makes sense for me to make 20 or 25 mugs and sell them online.
Yep.
So I can get the cash coming in, so I can buy more supplies and have a little cash in my pocket, or whatever it is, pay my bills. But then they sell out so fast, people get mad and they complain. But I don't think I can sit here and make 200 mugs and wait to release them because it's just me and then my wife glazing. So
there are so many different factors that go into. I mean, so many different mug makers do things in different ways. Like pre-sales, obviously there are a lot of bad things about pre-sales. People waiting on mugs, it can take way longer. But then it also allows some artists to like kind of gauge interest. Like, do 200 people want these mugs?
Right.
Well, the 20. That's another benefit of doing what you're doing with the small batch mugs, because you can kind of gauge over time how interested people are. Whereas if you made 300 mugs and then you put them up for sale and it was like a cricket.
When I released those Oceanic mugs last week, I mean, they sold out instantaneously like a lot of mugs do now. And I did get people writing to me and complaining, and I'm just like, this is my process. I don't know how to balance it for you.
Yeah, that's one of the that's an unfortunate thing that's happening right now. Shrunken Monkey just wrote, "What I've learned, everyone is upset, no matter what you do." Yeah, I mean, to an extent, that's true. Like, there's always going to be someone that doesn't like whatever your method is, and that's why you just got to do, what's best for you.
6 months and make all the mugs and then release them all at once, but I don't know. I'm sure. I know there's other producers that are. Michael Sabeka, Jungle Modern, he's just like, hey, I threw 15 mugs up in my shop. I don't see a lot of people, at least not online, complaining to him.
Maybe, no. I think a lot of people are, they send the private messages.
Okay.
Yeah, I guarantee that they're getting those messages.
The people that got one, they know they're getting something handmade, and that's something my wife and I are really proud about. I'm sculpting. Interesting enough, down in Indianapolis is the corporate headquarters for Amico that produces a lot of the glazes. I get my plaster and my slip from them down in Indy, and then everything's made right here. The company I work for, Chinese manufacturing is getting very weird and bizarre at this point.
Have you experienced shortages with glazes, plaster?
Yep, I just had to order from 3 different places to get a couple basic colors this week. And plaster of Paris was tough to get. I'm now sitting on 400 pounds of it because I knee-jerk reacted and bought a bunch.
I thought you said you didn't have much space. Now you're sitting on 400 pounds of plaster?
Yeah, well, I'm set for a while on that one. Slip I can get, but plaster of Paris was tough for a while. So, yeah, that was, and then, just even getting that is kind of an issue that I know other mug makers were having problems with, is just getting supplies. So
yeah,
and like I said, the Chinese thing. I mean, Monk Tiki told me this today, but I already knew this 3 weeks ago from the toy company I work for. China is now, they are automatically shutting off electricity to factories and rolling blackouts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're trying to cut. I mean, it's a good thing in one respect. They're trying to cut back the pollution because most of their manufacturing plants are coal-based. So the Olympics are coming up, and they're trying to eliminate the smog in Beijing. So they are the factories that we work with in China for the toy company. They are normally shut down 2 days a month. It's now 4 days a month, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot of production for a factory to be shut down a couple of days, and then you got workers sitting around doing nothing. And then on top of that, when they are open, the factories that we deal with for the toy company are like, well, we'll just make sure our workers are working harder. Well, that's not a good thing either. I mean, we don't know the conditions of the Chinese factories. So it's interesting. And I had a couple projects in with Monk Tiki, and I just got a message from Paul, and he was saying, oh, I just found out about this rolling blackout thing. I'm like, yeah, this isn't good. The prices are going up, and shipping container costs are going up. So I'm glad I'm starting to produce things here myself in-house. I might not be able to provide 500 at one time, but, we are making mugs. So, and then the next wave with the oceanic mug is, I did have a few of these avocado ones online. I'm sure the color is not going to
Yep.
be fabulous.
Okay, let's talk about that one. I love that one. I think some people would say it's Whitco, but it's not really Whitco. It's based on something.
Pulaski Furniture out of Chicago. And a lot of people do call it, when you see the furniture, it's actually the credenza in Don Draper's office in one of the seasons of Mad Men.
Mad Men, okay.
And you see it online. Mark Sellers, he had a set for a while when he bought the collection from Axis. But yeah, a lot of people will call it the Oceanic set, and actually Sven jumped in once. He's like, no, it's actually called the Contour 70. And yeah, he provided a image of a brochure, and so, the Contour thing. But, I didn't want to, Pulaski Furniture is still in business, so.
Of course Sven would know that. If anyone knows that, it'd be Sven.
I don't need a furniture company coming after me for using their name, Contour 70, which is kind of weird anyway. Oceanic sounds better from a tiki standpoint. So we did the brown ones, and then we did some avocado ones, and then my wife and I were playing around with glazes, and this is probably going to appear, it's a little dark with the red light I have over here, but this is more like the turquoise, like the baboon mug was.
Okay, yep.
White. And this one might look better. We were trying an orange.
You guys are trying all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and I think we're actually going to do the more of the avocado, the turquoise, and the orange. When you get them in light with the brown, they look together as nice as a set. So I think the next batch that goes in the kiln is going to have some of those glazes on it. And then I'm probably going to produce, I'm going to say 25, a limited run, more of these guys.
The baboons. Now, yeah. I love Tiki.
I made it in mass code. It has a couple of issues, but not bad enough where I can't make some mugs out of it. I don't know if it's worth duplicating the mold.
Yeah.
But I do have a couple cast already, so I think I'm going to shoot for 25, maybe more, as long as the mold holds out.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, and then of course, hopefully everybody knows. This guy, the new issue.
Oh, I got him.
Yeah, that went to print. The new issue went to print this week. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you got him.
Here's so I only started collecting at issue number 8. So if anyone has issues number 1 through 7, hook me up, please. But dude, I love this magazine, Exotica Moderne. Obviously, there have been a couple other tiki publications over the years. They kind of fizzled out. I don't know all the stories behind it. How did this one come about?
Because the last one fizzled out.
Okay. You're like, we need this.
Took my money and ran, and they pissed me off, basically.
Oh, so you went and made your own magazine.
I did. I mean, that's one of the reasons I brought up the comic book stuff. I do like to publish. I like printed material, like magazines and comics. And when I got into the Tiki thing, I decided to buy an ad in Tiki Magazine and More.
Yep.
Bought a couple back issues, like, this is pretty cool. I'll buy an ad. And then right after they took my money and other people's monies for that particular issue, they're like, oh, we've got some problems, family issues, we're going on hiatus, but don't worry, the next issue will be out a couple months. And then 6 months went by, and I kept emailing, trying to get my money back. I traced down their PayPal email, their business email, a couple personal emails, absolutely no response from them. So I'm like, you know what, I can do this.
You started your own magazine.
I've published stuff before. I can do this. And then I threw it out there, and I forgot what Facebook group, and Thor jumped in right away and said, I'll do the cover for you. So that got the ball rolling.
Did he do the very first issue?
Yes, he did. Yeah. And I was just talking to him last week. We might have him do something again next year. And I want to do a feature and catch up on what he's been working on, too, because he always has so much stuff going.
Yep.
Yeah, so that got it rolling, and I think I'm the only one who's been hitting an accurate quarterly schedule.
As far as I know, you're pretty consistent. I know you get this question all the time, but subscriptions in the future, ever, maybe?
Toy company, brewery,
ceramic cocktail mugs, magazine.
Everything.
Fair enough.
I use Big Cartel, and they don't really offer a good way for me to do subscriptions. Plus, then that's like a separate database of who subscribed at what issue.
Yep.
And then when the magazine comes in, I'm filling several thousand orders, and then I would have to cross-reference who paid for a subscription. And, it's only every quarter. If it was a monthly magazine, I'd probably pursue it more. But quarterly, it's like I send out an e-newsletter. All you have to do is hit buy now. It's not going to change the price. I'm not going to give you a break on it because postal rates are, shipping out glassware and stuff, postal rates are changing constantly.
Yeah, they just went up for a holiday or something.
Yep, a holiday bump, and then they suspended service to Australia. So I have a distributor in Australia that takes magazines, and it actually takes 3 months to get there. So
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, so when I sent out the email for the new magazine, Wayne in Australia writes me back at Custom Ink, and he's like, yeah, the last ones you sent to me are coming back to you. And the previous ones took 3 months to get to them. And yep, they came back, and I can send a single copy to Australia, but I can't send anything bulk because they've killed First Class International and
yikes.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a nightmare with shipping right now. So, the subscription thing, I get a few people asking, but it's only 4 times a year to hit that buy now button.
I'm really excited. So I think I saw in the next one, I love watching Tiki with Ray videos. And one of my favorite mug makers who just retired, Wendy Savola, they're in the next issue. So definitely pick that one up. I think that's you can still purchase it on houseoftabu.com, right?
Oh yeah,
pre-sale.
Yeah, it's probably going to press next week, but I take the pre-sale to see if what I'm going to order is going to change drastically, and it stayed pretty consistent right now. So I always have more printed than what I have initial orders for. The last issue actually held out pretty much till this one went, so I order more than enough copies. That's it. I mean, eventually it does sell out. And being self-financed, I don't overprint by 25%, just have cases of magazines laying around my house.
Yep.
They would pile
up. I blame you.
They would pile up really fast. Other thing I wanted, the Order of the Golden Fez stuff, we were selling pendants. I was making resin pendants of the Tut and the Nefertiti. And then my wife, she's like, maybe we should do some hold that up a little bit there.
See, I was just going to ask you about this because I went on the website. I was Snoop Dogging on your website, and I saw
it's got some glitter on it.
It's coming soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna make these live probably tomorrow, and then this is blue, but she's calling this more her Hanukkah version because it's blue. So we have a few of those up on the website too. I mean, I'm always looking for different things to do, which is kind of why the Golden Fez thing came about. It kind of gave me a target to shoot off on when I wanted to. And then I did just order. Did you ever see growing up as a kid, I liked building stuff, so obviously I like making things. Did you see any of the papercraft models that I did?
I don't think so.
No.
Are they like construction kits?
Yeah, they're two sheets of heavy paper, full color printed. The first one I did was a miniature model of the Tonga hut. That's it's about like 4 by.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, we included that with one of the issues. I worked with Kevin Murphy at Tonga Hut on that. And then the next one I did a model of the Kahiki in Ohio. And then I did chins in Detroit. And then I got permission to do the Tiki Tea. So I sent off to the
I was just going to ask.
Yeah, I'm going to issue, there's only going to be 50 sets. It's going to be a set of all 4 models. I'm not sure I'm going to price it at, but you hand glue them together. If you let me walk away for a minute, I can grab one over here.
Yeah, walk away. I'll do a giveaway.
Yeah.
I'll do a giveaway because we're overdue for a giveaway. So we're going to give away a pin, a Help Me pin from the Black Lagoon Room. I'm going to ask you a question. The first person to get the question correct in the comments will win this pin. And the question is, which artist designed the official mascot of the Search for Tiki? So our mascot is the woman. She's holding a purple cocktail mug that was designed by a very talented artist. They happen to also be a sponsor of 13 Nights of Tiki Frights. The first person to get the answer correct in the comments will take home this Black Lagoon Room Help Me pin. You're right.
Who won?
It didn't take long. It didn't take long. So The first person to get it right was actually at, people are still guessing, so it's bumping it, Coach Nate LSQ. It is Scooter. He goes by Art of Scooter on Instagram. His actual name is Scott Burrows. Give him a follow. He's super talented. I love his stuff. He used to be an animator for Disney. He makes a lot of mid-century modern art. So you're getting a pin. Do you have something to show us?
Sure. So, like I said, the first one I did, and this is 2 sheets of paper. You cut it out and glue it together. You can actually build LA's, North Hollywood's Tonga Hut.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and it's got the stuff in the back, and it actually includes a little stand-up. They have a tent in the back for Durango's Tacos, and it includes a little stand-up for Durango's Tacos in the back. I don't have the kahiki down here, but I do have Chin's Tiki, which I believe this appeared in an Eminem video back in the day.
Like Marshall Mathers Eminem?
What's
the
that?
rapper Eminem?
The rapper. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's been since torn down, but so that I don't have the kahiki model down here, and I haven't built the tiki tea yet because I sent it off to print. I've done a rough build, so I make sure everything fits together. But so yeah, I'm doing 50 sets of those, and I should have those in a few weeks up on the website. So if you're really good,
it's going to be a set of 4 that you can buy, and we'll have all 4, and that includes the tiki tea.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of the tiki tea, so I got to get that.
With an X-Acto knife. That's the only fun part. It's not perforated. You don't get to punch it out. You got to be good with a knife.
We got to put in the effort.
That's right. Yeah. If you haven't bled, you haven't done it right.
And do I have to order one of the pins to have the intelligence to be able to put these kits together? One of the degrees.
Yeah, you probably go for one of the higher degrees.
Higher degrees.
And don't start at the bottom. You also just go right to the top.
I love it. You mentioned earlier the finances of tiki, which a lot of people don't really talk about, but I know there are plenty of people out there that would love to make their own mugs and get a kiln. Do you have any idea of getting into mug making yourself, what the initial expense is and what equipment is absolutely necessary?
Well, really, the most expensive thing was buying the kiln. I think I paid $2,700 for the kiln. I bought a medium-sized kiln, not a small. If you want to make your own mugs just for yourself, you could buy a smaller kiln, but they're still like $1,500 to $1,800. If you have the room, you might as well go for something like that.
Yep.
And of course, I had to pay for an electrician to come out and wire that up for me. The supplies aren't necessarily all that expensive, but some of the glazes are. Some glazes are $13 a pint. Some are $30 a pint. Depends on the color and their chemical makeup. What's in them. But primarily, it's just the cost is a lot of time. We're hand glazing. Even people, we're not spraying. This being where you live. I don't have warm weather. I would love to spray some of the glazes, but right now it's about 38 degrees outside, so I can't go out in my garage and spray, and I'm not going to spray glazes in my basement with a furnace running. That's a recipe. So everything is hand painted. There's 2 firings. Of course, your electric bill goes up.
So you use an electric kiln.
I use an electric kiln. Yeah. We have gas service out here for our heating and our hot water, but yeah, electric kiln just makes more sense. I don't.
Yep.
And I guess wood-fired kilns are a whole nother beast that you have to learn how to control the temperature. This is all computer controlled. It ramps up and ramps down, but my kiln will fire up, and that's an entire day, and then it takes almost a whole day to cool back down before you open the kiln and see if everything came out. So. I've thrown some stuff away, not a lot. We've had issues, and there's a big learning curve with the glazes. Different glazes react a different way. I'm still learning. That's one of the things I kind of bug John about every once in a while, and talk to other people about that. Why did this bubble or why did this color come out looking like crap?
Phrasing.
Yeah,
Temperature. Yes, there's so much that goes into it. Do you have, other than John, because we don't want to blow up John's Instagram messages.
Right.
Is there another resource that you have used that's been helpful in learning?
You just got to watch Van Tiki's Technical Tuesdays.
Tiki Technical Tuesdays.
And I've met him once. He's a really, really nice guy. When I went out to the Coma to the Devil's Reef, and we did a magazine release party there. But, you know, he's told me before that I could contact him. I don't bother him because you can just watch his videos. You can learn a lot more videos. So
I used to love Henrik until I struck out today on his volume 5 of the Library of Libations, and now he's dead to me.
You sent him a terse email?
No, I did not. No, I've been on the receiving end of enough of those that I don't do that to other artists.
Yeah.
But I will lie in wait for the next wave. And anyone watching, if you want one, you're going to have to be quick because I'm prepared.
Yeah. You know, what do you have? Your phone, your iPad, your computer, anybody else's? You got them all set up to buy?
You got to load them all up. Actually, not really, because the ones today went in like less than 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's insane.
And that's just the way things are now. So, you know, if you're having like a computer and a phone, there's no way. So you just got to pick your medium and hope and pray.
Yeah.
But you must have seen that over the years because like your first, I think I heard your first mug, the voodoo doll head, right? You wanted to sell out in a year and it took like 3 months. And then the next one maybe sold out a little faster.
Yeah, the Tut sold out in like a week, and that was, I'm kind of a conservative person when it comes to making this stuff. It's like you said, you kind of test the waters and see what people want.
Yeah.
So I had John do 100 of the first Tuts, and those sold out in like a week, and then I went ahead and ordered another 150, I think, and then those sold out in like a day, and then everything after that has been. I think the last version of the Tut that I did, I hit the sale live button, walked from my office, which is just at the end of the house, walked into the kitchen, and they were sold out. Yeah, even I could make 1,000, you probably wouldn't make everybody wouldn't get one. You know?
Yep.
But
that's just one of the difficult things today because there's way more people that want to buy mugs than there are people making mugs.
Right.
And so that's why it's a cool thing that like you're making your own mugs now, and we need more people to do that really. For the community to grow, because with the way it stands, there can only be so many people into Tiki because.
Right, and I figure even if some people drop off from this, for me personally, if I can just get a good 200 or 300 people who really like my stuff, I'm doing fine. That's all I really need. That's all I sell, you know.
Just enough people so that you can make what you want to make, and you know. Be successful doing it. That's so many people's dream to just make the stuff that they want to make.
Yeah,
and
I
be
kind of
able
lucked out with this. Comic books was an interesting career. I did pretty well in comics for a while, and that market became, as much as people love Marvel and DC, they strangled the independent market back when I was working in it. So I don't watch a lot of their movies these days. I was never a superhero fan anyway. I was more into Warren's Creepy and Eerie back in the 60s and 70s, tying into the horror stuff, and a lot of European comics, and Heavy Metal Magazine is still around. I collected those which came out. So I was more into that anyway, but the Marvel and DC ended up buying up most of the distributors when I was still in the independent market, and then made it harder and harder for independent people to produce work. So this is really kind of nice for me doing the mugs and the magazine. I'm back to doing my own thing, distributing it myself and not really relying on anybody else.
Yep. The independent dream.
Yeah.
You've been into the creepy stuff for a long time.
What, pardon?
You've been into the creepy Halloween horror stuff for a long time.
My wife and I used to have some really good Halloween parties back in the day. We'd all dressed up, and we haven't done that, but actually our friends that are coming up tomorrow from Indianapolis, we are sponsoring an event at a local venue. The Tentacles that I did, the 7-inch flexi disc single in the magazine, playing. There's another surf band from the neighboring town, Fort Wayne, that's opening, but we have the Coffin Cats from Detroit as the headliner doing psychobilly, and we're doing a combo Halloween Day of the Dead thing, and we're all dressing up to go. So that'll be fun. I have a whole Day of the Dead tux thing to wear.
Oh, you gonna post pictures?
Yeah, we'll post pictures. Yeah, definitely.
I have to ask, your jacket.
Yes.
In that photo of you, the blue jacket where you're just like so suave, you know, where did that jacket come from?
That's from Rocket Betty in North Carolina. And actually, I'm having her do a second jacket for me. Yeah, isn't that a great jacket?
It's fantastic. Every time I see it, I'm like,
Yeah, it's all PNG style art. Yeah, I got to pick the fabric, and she's a wonderful seamstress. That thing fits me to a T. It's it's probably better than some of the stuff I've bought at stores. It's just
yeah.
she's a great seamstress. So I talked to
With
her.
the so when you're working with Rocket Betty, do you just get like the print from like Spoonflower or
Yeah,
something and send her the?
yeah, it's all from Spoonflower, and I swear if I ever have time, I'd like to design some fabric, but I haven't. I'm so busy.
Someday.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like great. I'm working from home. I actually put in 9 to 10 hours a day working from home between the magazine and the ceramics. I get up about 6:30 and start pouring mugs, and while those are resting and waiting to cure to get out of the molds, I'm on the magazine or answering emails or filling orders. Yeah, I normally don't quit till like 6:30 at night.
I love the magazine, but if you want to take a quarter off to design a like a smoking jacket for the Order of the Golden Fez,
I actually talked to Rocket Betty about that. I'd like to design a fabric to do the smoking jacket. Yep.
that would be so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems like the next natural progression.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
in a society, you need a jacket.
And an ascot, because you got to wear an ascot. What else goes better with a fez than wearing an ascot?
Go to Frankie's Tiki Room.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then, I have to show, I was really happy with how the glasses came out for you. Did those?
Hey, yeah, I got them.
Hey, look, you got one. There
That's
it
what I'm
is.
drinking out of. I gotta say, for the people that are watching, Ken, you were the first person to design a Mai Tai glass for the Search for Tiki.
Yeah.
And that's a huge deal because when I made the website, I wanted it to be free for everyone. I did not want there to be a cost to use the website because everyone should have Tiki. Everyone should be able to collect mugs and enjoy it. And so I decided the way to make the website work is to fund it through merchandise. And you started it off, man, with the Search for Tiki's first official Mai Tai glass from Ken, House of Tabu, and that meant the world to me, so I just had to tell you.
Well, thank you. No, I'm glad you asked me. I was excited to do it, and I really like the way it came out. And hopefully they all sold out for you, and the post office didn't break many for you, because that happens.
Well, interesting story. And so this is one of the reasons why I will always, for the rest of my life, use John and Jean. The glasses arrived, and they were all messed up. And there was like 144 of them, and it was just totally wrong. And I messaged them, and I'm like, hey, I don't know if I could sell these. And they instantly responded to me, and they were like, don't worry about it. It's not going to cost you a cent. They're being made again now. We're sending them to you.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times, and they don't even hesitate. They're like, yep,
Yeah.
that's a mistake. Factory will redo it. Keep those. Hand them out to your friends. Use them for target practice, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
For me, that's what it is. Like, you can make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, and stuff happens. But, like, if you own it and correct it right away, customer for life.
And that's an interesting thing that you said about the website and trying to make it easy for people to access and not have to pay for it is, okay, I have to charge for the merchandise I make, but I want to make art or I want to publish a magazine. And that was the same thing with the comics. I'm drawing as a kid, and I've always been geared towards some sort of, it's kind of weird, I'm geared towards commercial production. And it's like, well, I want to make this thing. How do I afford to do that?
Yep.
So you've got a great website for people to access and learn about new mugs and collect mugs and connect with other people. But at the end of the day, it still costs money even just to host a website and do the maintenance on it. And you just have to figure out how to fund that without being ridiculous about it. And even though I've raised some prices on my stuff, I still don't think I'm charging what other people are charging. I'm not knocking what other people charge for mugs. I set my prices to what works for me, but I'm trying to be reasonable, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and what I'm charging people. I still get complaints about shipping, which I don't, nothing I
Can't
can
control it. That's the same thing with me. Like, unfortunately, I get comments a lot because they're like, well, I order a mug from so-and-so and it costs this much. But they're shipping from California to California, and I'm living in New Hampshire.
Right.
You're in, I don't know exactly where, but the Chicago area.
I'm
It
in
costs a
India.
lot more to ship to California than it does to ship there from
Right.
3 streets over.
I'm sort of, yeah. I mean, I'm in South Bend, Indiana, which is all I have to do is say Notre Dame football. I'm about 15 minutes from the university. So, but yeah, shipping to California, depending on the weight of the mug, my cost can be like $16. So it just,
Yep.
it just depends on the weight of the mug and where it's going. And with the e-commerce site I'm using, they don't let me go by weight. So I have to, some people are getting charged maybe $1 more, somebody's paying $1 less. I try and balance it out on an average. Plus I have time and, people don't take into account ordering shipping materials, and I feel like
The
I'm
boxing,
giving a lecture on
the
how
peanuts.
to do this, but you said people are asking about making mugs. This is what's all involved. You have to order boxes and bubble wrap, but it's all part of the fun part of doing this. It's a good break for me. I make the mugs and they come out, and then you spend a few days packing them up, and it gives my mind a chance to rest. So it's really good that there's that aspect of both sides of this business.
Yep. It's always fun going to the post office too, because I don't go there all the time, right? Because you release a product and then you'll get a ton of orders.
Right.
And then you'll have time where there's no orders, because that's just the way the Tiki works. So they know me now, and when they see me come in with a little handful of boxes, they're like, oh God.
You should
clear the counter, the stuff's coming in.
The magazine, my wife and I hand stuff those all ourselves in envelopes. You should see the post office when I run those in.
I'm sure they're thrilled.
It's about 1,500 pounds worth of magazines. Literally.
How many magazines are printing? Is that like a trade secret at this point?
I'm hovering around 2,000. And there's 100 in a case, and each case weighs 40 or 50 pounds. It barely all fits in my Subaru Crosstrek. The front end's wanting to come up a little bit from the weight of the magazines, but yeah, that's all hand done too. We do that all here at the house. I don't pay to have someone send out the magazines. We shove each. You too can make money. Filling envelopes. That used to be a thing back in the day. You'd see that in magazines. Make money stuffing envelopes at home. I'm living that dream right now.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah.
After every issue, you spend 3 months letting your hands recover from all the paper cuts.
No, I'm actually starting on the next issue, and this one's not printed yet.
No.
Yeah, it takes with everything else going on. It takes about 3 months to put it together. I probably wouldn't be able to do anything more than a quarterly, bi-monthly, 6 times a year. I don't. I could probably pull it off, but then the people who do advertise, the artists and stuff, I mean, Tom Laura and those people, I don't think they'd want to take an ad every month or every 2 months. I feel like I'm sort of glomming onto them. Hey, you want to buy an ad? So I think quarterly actually works for everybody.
Do me a favor.
Yes.
Charge Tom extra.
Yeah.
Double his rate, that Tom Laura.
I have quite a few of his mugs. I like Tom. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I do. I do too. We were joking with Doug Horn that we should take down his painting in Frankie's and replace it with something ridiculous. He was in the comments going, no! Ruby's Dilemma. Yeah, all right, let's do another giveaway.
Okay.
This Surfside Sips straw, this pumpkin, for the people that are watching. Write the answer to my question in the comments. The first person to guess it correctly will get to take home this straw. Speaking of merchandise and funding the Search for Tiki, we had our first official hat designed by a famous Tiki artist. Who designed the hat? Write it in the comments. The first person to get it correct will get the straw. What's next, dude?
Me?
Yeah, you got these. You got the ornaments coming out. Are those tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll probably. I put those up today because I figured I'd talk about them a little bit. We're just trying to have some fun for the holidays. We're doing that Atomic Tiki Bazaar at Max's on the 14th in Grand Rapids. It's going to be a new event that they're going to hope to grow every year.
Okay.
I mean, Max's is Mark Sellers. He's owned other restaurants and he's run other events in Grand Rapids in conjunction with his restaurants, and he's working with 2 friends of ours. And they're kind of hoping to grow that event. But as far as me, I've got I've got another Golden Fez mug design sketched,
Ooh.
not sculpted yet, but I'll probably start in another week. And then I have another House of Tabu mug that I'm going to start sculpting. I've got the shape started on it. And that one, the next House of Tabu mug is going to be based off of a piece I did get off of Mark Sellers from Max's. You know, he bought that collection from the gallery in LA, and he had a lot of the tikis from the Polynesian Village apartments in Playa del Rey, and we bought two of them.
I saw a photo on your Instagram. They're like kind of flanking the fireplace.
Yep. The mug is going to be based on the one on the left of my fireplace. So I figured as long as I own it, it'd be kind of a cool piece of history to do as a mug. So I'm going to do that. And then I have yet a third mug that is kind of interesting because a lot of times I'm looking at this stuff and it's like, I really need to do stuff that's more tiki. And then I'll do these crazy offshoots like the Golden Fez or, smoking baboon thing. I'm kind of hoping, and it's been 3D modeled, and this kind of came off of a conversation with Thor. You know, Thor did that Mercury capsule. And I had actually thought about, I'm big into Russian constructivism and stuff from that era as well. And it got me thinking about the Sputnik. So I thought, what about the Sputnik as a coconut with 4 straws sticking out of it for the antennae? So that has been 3D sculpted. I haven't made any molds for it yet. So that's a possibility. We're going to see how that comes out.
Are you going to be doing strictly in-house now, or are you still going to have some?
I still have a project with Montiki. They're sending me a sample, but and I love the people there a lot, but I just keep hearing about factory delays and shipping container cost and prices of mugs going up. And I'm not anti-China, but I still feel like why shouldn't I be producing this stuff in-house? So
there's a time where the logistics of it just becomes
not just the logistics, but the whole I fancy myself an artist, but I don't as well. I don't take myself seriously, but I am doing art, and I don't know if I feel true as an artist just drawing a sketch and sending it off. I mean, I love doing that with John and the mug I did with Tiki Diablo, but if I'm going to be doing mugs myself, why am I sending it somewhere else? I mean, it's my work. I should be producing it myself, and it makes it more collectible for people who are into my work. So, it's handmade, hand sculpted. The Sputnik mug I had 3D done because it's perfectly rounded. I don't think that I'm that good of a sculptor yet. I don't have a wheel, and I'm not.
I was going to ask you. So John said, if you can draw, you can sculpt. Now you've sculpted. We know you can draw. Do you feel the same?
It is true. I think if you can envision and draw, unless you're drawing stick figures, and especially since I drew comics, you're always looking at perspective and different angles, and you have to envision the space around a character and depth perception and things like that. So I think if you can draw, you can sculpt. It just takes a little bit of practice. So, but the Sputnik one, it's like, this is perfectly round. I am not going to get this perfectly round. So
you don't want like some warped looking like the engineer got cocked and it never really made it out to space, but it made it out onto the landing platform.
Yeah, it hit something on landing. But yeah, so I've got 3 new, and that's the other thing time wise. It's like if every day I'm pouring in casting mugs, I need time to say stop and take some time off to sculpt. And all the time I'm sculpting, I'm not producing any mugs. So
how much time do you spend on a sculpt? Obviously it varies from subject to subject, but I have never been very fast at anything. It takes me forever to draw a comic book. It takes me forever to do anything. So I probably have a good 16 to 20 hours in a sculpt. I bet John Mulder could probably sculpt in a day and be done. Maybe I have ADHD too, because they'll be like, I'll go make some espresso now. And Tiki Tony's monkey brain.
Yeah, exactly. I have that. And then, then I'll get an email from the brewery asking me to do something like, oh, well, it's really hard. It's hard for me to gauge how much time I have in this stuff because I do get interruptions like that. One of the curses of working from home, working for multiple people is those type of interruptions. So, and I have my own little sort of attention span problems on things too, which is kind of obvious in all the different things I produce. So,
Are you still open to commissions, or is that pretty much shut down at this point?
It depends on what it is and how involved it is. I mean, glassware.
Interest level.
Yeah. Glassware and things like that I can still do. I've had a couple of people like, hey, you're doing mugs now. You want to make me a mug? I'm like, you don't know what you're asking me. You don't know what you're asking me to do. It's so much work. And just, we had a group come through from North Carolina, the Tiki Tour group. They were very nice people. They thought based on my pictures, I was an actual bar. And they were traveling from North Carolina all the way in Milwaukee and then through the Midwest. And they asked if they could stop. And when I told them it was my home bar, they were very apologetic. But I'm like, no, come on over. It'll be fun.
I drove 300 miles to see your basement. Now let me in.
Yeah, let me into your basement. Oh, you have a cat. But, they threw that out there too. And he wasn't fishing, but he's like, yeah, we always wanted to have a mug made. I thought about asking you, but after seeing what you do, he's like, I understand why you can't just make 10 mugs for people. It's not.
Dude, anytime someone messages and asks to make a mug, it should be like a prerequisite, like go watch 20 Tiki Technical Tuesday videos from Van Tiki and then come back.
Exactly. And I did do those ashtrays for Hidden Harbor. And that took me long enough to realize that I'm not set up to be Ecombukum or Tiki Diablo. I'm not going to have a staff. I can't crank out 50 to 100 pieces in a timely fashion for a client and feel like I'm actually devoting all my time to it because I have other things going on. Even if I didn't have the other jobs, the magazine is very distracting. Not distracting in a good way, but I have to keep up with who's submitting articles, how much space is going to fit in the magazine.
Yep.
More people are asking to write, sorry, you can't be in this issue, you got to be in that issue, because this one's already filled. People don't realize I'm working 6 months ahead on the magazine. You got to be ready. If you want to be on a schedule, you got to be ready. You just can't get done and go, yeah, that was good. I'm going to take a month off. The first one's easy. It's the second and the follow-up magazines are the tough ones. It's like a hit single for a band. The first one was easy. What are you going to do next? And how often are you going to keep doing that? So.
And that's why today you're announcing that Exotica Moderne is moving to a 1 issue per month schedule.
Shoot me now, brother. I don't think I could ever do a monthly thing. I did an industrial music magazine back in the 90s, and that was quarterly as well. And I could barely keep up with that one. See, I'm all over the map. Industrial music, electronic music, tiki, comic books.
I didn't know you did electronic music.
Yeah, I have a couple synthesizers upstairs. I still dabble in music. I was just messing with that today.
Do you do that at your home bar? Like people come over, you make a cocktail, and then you're...
Yeah, sitting there jamming. Yeah, we're doing some... No, back in the 90s.
Your Devo hat.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, back in the 90s, I started listening to electronic music back in late 80s, early 90s, going to Wax Trax Records in Chicago. When I went there, Al Jorgensen from Ministry was still working at Wax Trax Records. So I was picking up things like Front 242, Frontline Assembly, Skinny Puppy, listening to some goth stuff like Bauhaus, some new wave stuff like Ultravox, all very synth-based music. Just kind of got into it then. Been buying synthesizers and selling synthesizers and buying more synthesizers ever since.
I just made a connection in my head. One of the 10 tenets of the Order of the Golden Fez is if you got a problem, just whip it.
Just whip it.
And suddenly it makes sense.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you got to throw some Devo in there every once in a while. So yeah, I actually did a small little vanity record label for a while called Arts Industria. Put out about 13 compilations of international electronic music. Published a magazine doing record reviews, interviewing musicians. That was fun.
Uh-oh. Did you
Yeah.
say 13?
Yeah, about 13 or 14. I lost count.
That's basically what we're at with Exotica Moderne.
We are.
So I hope that's not the reoccurring threshold of boredom.
Number 14. 14, I'm already gathering articles for.
Perfect.
I put out a feeler in one of the groups asking how many issues they thought Tiki News went for, and Tiki Magazine and more. And I think all the iterations of Tiki Magazine may have been about 32 or 33, according to Tom Morgan.
It's hard to say because they did issues, but then they did like issue part.
Oh, they did like volume 2, issue 3.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
who has the time to track that down?
yeah, well, you know, supposedly the volume is a current year, but you know, some years they did 4, some years they did 3, some years they did 2. So it actually took quite a few people jumping in to reach whatever the number was, somewhere between 32 and 36 issues. So I'm not quite winning yet, but I'm knocking at the door at this point.
Well, you're going to break through that barrier with your new Sputnik mug.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I
the
wanted
crowning
to do
Tiki Magazine champion, the most issues ever released.
The Sputnik mug I actually wanted to get done earlier because I talked about Tom about doing a you know, Tiki mug space race between the Mercury capsule, but yeah, timing didn't work out on that one. But Tom's been helping me a little bit with that, with just helping with some pointers on the 3D stuff. So I like working with Thor. He's such a good guy. He's
an awesome artist. I know we're running on overtime, but you did your trays too, right? It's like a spin on an ashtray where it was like
I don't have any of those sitting around here. They all sold out. Yeah, that was actually the first homemade project I did because I wanted to try something small.
Okay.
2-piece mold, something simple. If anybody wants to try it, that's what I did. I'm going to try something simple to start, and just as a proof of concept to see if it works. But I think I ended up selling like 120 of those Mai Tai trays.
They look fantastic, man.
It was a spoof and ashtray. I mean, I don't know how many people smoke anymore. Maybe more people do if they're smoking pot or something. I don't know, but
in Vegas they do. Just go to Frankie's.
Yeah, that's right. But I inverted the rest for the cigarette so it held your straw on a cocktail pick. I still have my silicone dupes to make more molds. I might make more of those again in the future, but you know, I think I made enough of them. I needed to move on to the next project. And that's the other thing that happens with the molds, with the mugs too. It's like, oh, I've made 150 of these. I'm tired of doing the same thing over and over again. I have to make a mug now. So it's coming up with the next idea. That's the fun part. But I enjoy doing it. I've been doing that for 30 years now, coming up with something new all the time.
You're killing it, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. People love House of Tabu, the Order, the Golden Fez. We got a mug to give away.
There you go.
This fire starter mug. And it actually, because obviously you would do this, comes with this crazy special box, custom wraparound box. I'm a fire starter.
Yeah, see, I like design work. You know, I love doing design work. Yeah, you know, a little more techno music thrown in there too.
A little Devo CD with every mug.
Yeah.
So the winner of the fire starter mug with a removable lid made by Ken House of Tabu is Stacy Topham. So congratulations, Stacy.
Hey, congrats.
You have won a cocktail mug. Thank you for supporting 13 Nights of Tiki Frights and the Search for Tiki and entering our giveaway. Ken, I want to end this, if we can, with my 2 personal favorites of the 10 tenets of Order of the Golden Fez. Number 6, time is precious, waste it wisely.
Exactly.
So good, so precious. And number 7, cheers to you. Yes, we'll have another round. My personal favorites of the Order of the Golden Fez. It's been a pleasure having you on.
It's been fun.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. I love Exotica Moderne. I love House of Tabu, Order of the Golden Fez, everything.
Thanks. Keep in touch. Let me know if I can help you at any time.
Love it, dude.
All right.
Also, oh, by the way, the
Yes,
winner
sir.
of because I forgot to announce it, the correct answer for the Tiki Rob hat, Surfside Sip Straw, is on Instagram, AKINJD350. So you won. Congrats.
Yeah,
Perfect. Thank you, Ken. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Talk soon, man.
Now I'm going to go let my dog out, maybe refill my drink. We'll see.
Cheers.
Cheers.